Data science basically comprises of various aspects like data preparations, modeling, deployment, visualizations. So I would recommend that he should do a couple of projects related to each of these topics. The interview process at Amazon is quite thorough. Like it involves mix of technical knowledge and behavioral knowledge as well. There will be few rounds which would be focused around your technical aspect. And then Amazon is also, they are much more focused about Amazon leadership principles.
Building a career in data science and that too in a product based company like Amazon is a challenge in itself. Abdullah, who is a data scientist in Amazon, has accomplished this challenge despite being a mechanical engineer. And how he did it, what was the interview experience, and what is the roadmap that he suggests. We have discussed it all in this podcast. So watch it all. Do not skip any part because we have discussed a lot of details in the middle as well. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends who might find it useful. If you like the content on our channel, please consider subscribing to us as well. So without any further delay, let's start with the video. Hi everyone, Abdullah has finally joined us on this podcast. Thank you so much for joining, Abdullah. And why don't we start with a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah, thank you very much for your I'm equally excited to join this. So yes, I will give a brief introduction about me. So my name is Abdullah Furqan, and currently I work as a research analyst, data scientist at Amazon Bangalore. I have a graduate in mechanical engineering from Jamia Millia, and then I did my postgraduate in industrial engineering from NIT Jamshedpur. And yeah, so over the past, you can say 4 or 5 years, I have been involved in working in various domains like pharmaceuticals, e-commerce, energy sectors. So yes, working in different domains definitely has helped me understand the nuances of how data science can be applied on those fields.
And what does your day-to-day work in Amazon look like as a data scientist?
Yeah, so basically here at Amazon, what I do is that we conduct pilots. So let's say if we have to implement some work at a bigger level, so before that we will check its feasibility at a smaller level and we call it pilots. So for example, recently I was working on a time series forecasting. My day-to-day work, I would say, revolves mostly around analyzing a big set of data, developing predictive modelings. And as I said, you must be knowing that nowadays a lot of buzz is about the large language models, LLM. So every new day, some new models are coming into pictures. So of course, we at Amazon are also using the latest trends. Most of our work will revolve around text, NLPs, LLM, yeah. And in terms of tech stack, if I see, I would say Python is my go-to language that I use. And we also write SQL queries here. So SQL definitely. And in terms of cloud, since I work at Amazon, so mostly I would be using Amazon. And specific to Amazon, I would be using S3, Redshift, SageMakers. Nowadays, as I said, large language models are coming to picture. So specific to that, we have something called Amazon Bedrocks, which is quite good in terms of its features. And yeah, when it comes to deep learning, the frameworks like TensorFlow and PyTorch, I make extensive use of. And in terms of IDE, I make use of VS Code and PyCharm. And then we have the, of course, Git and Dockers. So these are my go-to tools that I use on a daily basis.
And building a career, I think in data science and that too in a like product-based company like Amazon is a challenge itself, right? So how was your journey? Like, can you share some challenges that you faced in this journey?
Yes, so as I said, I come from a core branch. So my graduation is in mechanical engineering and MTech is in industrial engineering. There is a lot of confusion. People say that someone who is coming from core branch, they don't have much brighter future in the sides. But this is a myth actually. So anyone can make their career in data science. So I would say like always make someone as your mentor, take guidance from him. And I coming back to your question, the challenges that I face in as a data scientist in day-to-day activities. One of the common challenge that I see is capturing of the data. So when we start a project, if you go on any YouTube platforms or for sake someone who is new, so he will take a toy data set and start working. And the thing is, data is provided to him, right? So the things become easier. But if you go in a multi national companies, or in a big company or even in a startup for sake. So this data set won't be provided to you. So you have to work hard to get the data. You have to connect with multiple teams. You have to understand the column definitions. So getting the data is one of the main challenge. Second challenge is like when you start building your models, all things boil down to your customer expectation. What is the end result you want? For example, let's say you want your model to be more interpretable. Then of course you have to take a model which is sufficiently good in terms of accuracy, and also it should be explainable. But let's say if our objective is only accuracy, we are not bothered about explainability of the model, then I can go with the deep learning models, because those models are like black box models. They will give you your accurate results, but when it comes to like if I have to explain, let's say why in particular records my model is saying yes, I won't be able to explain much in case of complex models like deep learning. Second thing is like I would say the challenges that I face is, as you see, this data science keeps on evolving. So which in my initial days I faced the need of a mentors, which I did not have initially. So I had to prepare myself. I have to go through the videos and all. But if you have a mentor, you get the learning path, right? So he will guide you, follow this step, then next step, then next step. So
Right.
the advantage is that, so if you go on internet, there are lots of resources available. You will be overwhelmed by the resources and get confused. But the role of a mentor here is that he will give you a learning path so you can follow step by step, and thus you won't lost yourself. Yeah, so these are some of the things which yeah, and of course, one important aspect here is that when we make use of a data, we should always be concerned that data should not be a private. I mean, let's say if I take an example of Amazon, so Amazon has a lot of consumer data. Make sure that unknowingly we should not, expose this data, because these are red flags data, and it is our responsibilities.
And can you give us some insights about your interview as a data scientist in Amazon? Like, what was the process and what were the questions that were asked to you during the interview?
Yes. So basically, in terms of if you see the interview process at Amazon is quite thorough. Like it involves mix of technical knowledge and behavioral knowledge as well. For example, there will be few rounds which would be focused around your technical aspect, and then Amazon is also, they are much more focused about Amazon leadership principles. There will a couple of rounds around them. Now I would always suggest that whenever we start answering a particular question, we should follow the star methodology. That is, we should frame our answer based on situation, task, action, and result. Because if you follow this framework, it makes our answer more, reachable, you can say. The interviewer will perceive it in a better way. And coming back to SQL, I would say that is questions that they ask would mostly revolve around, for example, select statements, basic SQL queries like insert, update, or delete, and then we can have questions related to join operations, aggregations, then Windows functions, common table expressions. Now, so these were some of the things related to SQL. In terms of Python, I would say they will test your data structures, namely, if I say like lists, tuples, sets, dictionaries, they will test your function writing capabilities, lambdas expressions, list comprehensions. And then, of course, if you are giving a data scientist interview, then they will test you on your ML, your
Hmm.
deep learning things.
Right.
And finally, we have a behavioral questions. So when I say behavioral questions, it means like the questions can be of situations. Tell me a time when you simplified a thing. So I will have to describe about the project here in which I simplified a complex thing. So
Hmm.
which will reflect one of 16 leadership principle of Amazon.
Okay.
And yeah, so these are some of the things.
And let's say if someone wants to switch to data science from a tech role, what should be their preparation strategy to switch to this industry?
Yes, so someone who is switching, this makes sense that he is a newcomer in the field of data science. If you see, this data science basically comprises of various aspects like data preparations, modeling, deployment, visualizations. So I would recommend that he should do couple of projects related to each of these topics. So he can make couple of projects related to regressions, related to classifications, related to unsupervised learning, and then of course, as I said. Mock interviews always helps you, so you can take help of chat gpt. You can simply give some prompts and ask, for example, you can say suggest me some interview preparation strategy. So chat gpt will give you those questions, and then you can practice those. And another thing I would suggest is that nowadays, if you look at this data science roles, it's a mixture of roles. Sometimes you will say a job listing with the name data analyst. Sometimes you will say data scientist. Sometimes ML ops, ML engineer. So many names have come. Business analyst, research analyst. So someone who is starting, he may get confused with these names. I would suggest that instead of worrying about the roles, pick any job. Start doing a job, and then later on, of course, you can always move to a particular specialization of your choice.
So first
So
enter the field and then you can
yes, yes,
specialize.
because what happens is that in the initial you are starting your career and you are too much focused that no, I would be going in this field only. Then sometimes it can create trouble. So better be flexible in early in your career, and then you can always navigate to your desired path later on. One more thing I would like to point out here is that
Mm.
when you make your resume, nowadays resumes are ATS friendly. So if you share your resume, instead of HR looking at your resume, he will make use of some sort of softwares.
Hmm.
So we should stick to the way that software is designed. For example, the software might take some fonts. The software might be suitable for a PDF format. So we should design our resume as per the ATS. We can Google and see the required structures, how it should be, and then frame our resume like that. Another thing I would point is that, let's say I'm switching from some other background to a data science background.
Hmm.
So we should always try to see what are the transferable skills that we can mention in our resume. I will give you an example here. Let's say if I talk about database administration. So basically these are the people who will manage database. So they would extensively use the SQL queries in their work. Okay. Now if he is applying for a data science job, he can say that I was making use of SQL as a transferable skill, right? This will give him an advantage.
So they don't have to retrain you and put in
Yes.
efforts because you already.
because because at the end companies also want someone who already have some experience, right?
Mhm. That's why projects and things are important.
Yes, that's where project things are important. That's where courses like yours, you're doing some you have
Yeah,
plenty
yeah,
of courses in your platforms.
right.
Those courses play an important role.
That's right. Okay. And let's say someone is like switching to this field from another field, let's say, right? So what's the starting salary they can expect in the data science field?
Yes, so the expected salary of a data scientist in India can significantly vary depending upon the various factors. For example, if you are a fresher or based on the location, based on the hiring company. Now, coming back to entry level job, on an average, we can expect somewhere between 4 to 8 LPA.
Hmm.
And for someone in a mid career, he can expect somewhere between 8 to 15.
Hmm.
But again, I would say these are average values. The actual values will depend upon your company, your
Right.
tech skill, your educational background. So nowadays, if you see in data science, most of the people who are masters or PhDs, they would get more money.
Hmm.
Also, in India, if someone is working in Bangalore, he would be given more a salary as compared to some other city.
That's a fact, yeah.
Another point I would add here is that most of the companies also they have some stock. They also would have some bonus on top of your base salary. When I say the salary, when we go for a negotiation in a salary, we should also ask for the stocks, a bonus, and other benefits as well.
Right, right. We should focus on in hand as well, right? How much is the.
Correct.
Right. And as the field of like data science evolves, right, what are the trends or advantages do you foresee which are going to play a crucial role in the future of data science industry as a whole?
Number one, I would say better AI and machine learning. So nowadays, a lot of focus is there on creating smarter computers. For example, computer can recognize the faces, or
Hmm.
they can understand your spoken words, like natural language processing.
Right.
Second thing is automated ML. So if you see nowadays, even the non-tech person can make use of ML because low-code platforms are coming into pictures where you have to simply drag and drop,
Hmm.
and you can do the machine learning stuff.
Yeah.
And number third, I would say data handling improvements because of the, let's say, to name a specific technology, Apache Kafka. So those are like the technologies which helps us to streamline our data faster. Another thing I would say is edge computing. So earlier, when we have let's say if something has to be processed on your mobile, and initially it would go to the server, and
Mhm.
after processing on the server it will use to show the result on your mobile phone.
Right.
But nowadays with this edge computing things, everything will be done on your mobile phone, so it will be faster and safer because the data won't be going in the cloud, won't be going in the server. And then of course computing is coming into pictures. Then we have augmented reality, then we have explainable AI. As I was explaining earlier in this podcast, nowadays when we do our projects, the end user would be much more interested to know why this particular thing happened. So we should be able to explain it. So we have a frameworks like Lime, Shape. Those frameworks helps us to achieve this.
Explain to the user what has been done.
Yes.
And what are the myths about data science industry that you would like to bust or share with our viewers?
Yes, actually, this is the most interesting questions. For number one, I would say is that data science is not all about math or calculus. So it's a common myth that when someone starts, someone who is a beginner in this field, he will focus too much about calculus or he would be worried about maths. But to be very honest, we have lots of libraries available. If I talk about Python,
Right.
Python has a very good framework of libraries. So it makes our work easier. We don't have to worry about linear algebra. Yeah, it's always advisable that we should know the how the maths works, but we it's not that you have to indulge in it and give 100% for it because there are libraries doing the work for us.
Definitely.
Second myth is like I would say data science is a solution to all the problems. This is a myth. So I would like to say that it's not true. Every problem cannot be solved using machine learning and data science. And also at the end, it is our responsibility that whatever solution we are making, it is for the customers.
Mhm.
So let's say if you are developing something and if it can be achieved using a simple work, then we should not think about machine learning because if you are using machine learning, it is definitely making it complex. But if we can do the same work without using machine learning, that's far better.
Right. Without
And
compromising anything.
yes, next is bigger data is always better. So it's a myth that people say that if you have a lot of data, you will get better insights. But we should also keep in mind that when we have a bigger data, we will also be needing a lot of resources.
Right.
And sometimes the requirement is that we have to deliver something in a limited time frame. So in those situations, we would be limiting ourselves to a smaller set of data. Okay. And next thing I would say data science is isolated field. So people think that data science is isolated, but it's not the case. I will give you my example here at Amazon. I'm working here as a data scientist, business analyst. Okay. So I have to interact with various people, like I have to interact with subject matter experts, the domain experts. I have to interact with software engineers. I have to interact with, you can say, of course, the managers are there, DevOps engineers. So a data scientist has to interact with multiple people from different fields. So
Right.
it's an interdisciplinary field, you can say. It's not an isolated field.
It's interdisciplinary field. And now I think podcast so far has been really good. I think it's very interesting. To make it a little bit more interesting, now we'll be doing rapid fire questions with Abdullah. So Abdullah, whenever you are ready, let me know. You'll have to answer each question within 10 seconds or so, right? It's a rapid fire round. So whenever you are ready, let me know.
Sure, we can start.
So the first question is, would you rather wake up early or work till late?
So I am an early person, so I love a fresh start to the day. Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite thing to have while working, coffee or tea?
I love coffee definitely because it's my go-to for long hours of data analysis.
What's your most used keyboard shortcut?
Uh, yeah, Control C and Control V. I think these are the shortcuts used in every fields.
Really?
You cannot remain without this.
Right. And which is your preferred OS and why?
So for my personal work, I use Android phones. But of course, for my official work, I make use of Windows because I would say there are a lot of resources available for Windows. If you have to install something, it those are readily available on the internet. But if you go with Mac or something, I'm not sure whether we have resources available for those
Mhm.
much.
Right. And what's an app that you can't live without?
Of course, I would say Git because, as I said, pointed out earlier in the podcast that when we work in a team, we collaborate with the other members as well. So let's say if I write some program today, some version today, so same program can be used by the other. So this is facilitated by Git.
And what is your favorite data analysis tool?
Yeah, Python I would say for its versatility and powerful libraries.
So, if you could have dinner with any tech geek, who would it be?
So I would say Geoffrey Hinton because he was the pioneer in the field of deep learning. So he has inspired a lot of people.
And what city do you think is the global hub for data science?
Of course, I would say San Francisco mainly because of its location in the Silicon Valley. Yeah, but if we talk about India, it's Bangalore, I would say.
A lot of other cities are also developing, I think, like.
Yeah, yes, yes. So to name a few like Pune, Hyderabad, Noida side, Noida, Gurgaon, those things as well.
If not a data scientist, what would you be?
I would probably be a teacher because I like sharing knowledge to other people. Yeah.
Last question, what's one non technical skill that's crucial in data science?
So I would say communication. You should definitely have a good communication skill. Uh, Even let's say I do a data science project, we have to showcase our results at the end. So we should have that skills, right? So that the end user understand what we have done. So,
Definitely, definitely. Agree with you. So yeah, it's been a great podcast with you, Abdullah. Thank you so much for joining today and letting the audience know like what you need to do in order to get into data science field and what's the right way, I guess, right? And if anyone wants to connect with Abdullah, we will link their LinkedIn ID in the description.
sure.
And thank you so much, Abdullah, for joining in today.
Thank you very much for your time.